Hello students. In this presentation, we are going to discuss about most important point you need to keep in the mind while you are going to appear for the accountancy paper. So let's have a look on all these important matter you need to learn. On this slide, you can see my accountancy book, which I have written for the MBD. You can buy them from online. Regarding blueprint, you have three type of questions, and these questions are for 2 marks, 3 marks, and 5 marks each. And there is no internal choice among 2 mark questions, and there are 3 internal choices in a 3 mark question, and there's 1 internal choice in 5 mark questions. Overall, you will have 4 internal choices. Total number of questions against each type of category are 4. So this way, under this category, total number of questions will be 12 against 40 marks of the entire paper. A question of 2 marks should be attempted in about 5 minutes, and a question of 3 marks should be attempted in 8 minutes, and a question of 5 minutes should be attempted in about 12 minutes. This way, 2 marks question should be attempted in 20 minutes, 3 marks question should be attempted in 30 minutes, 5 marks question should be attempted in 60 minutes. This way, you should be able to complete your paper within about 110 minutes, and 10 minutes should be reserved for revision purpose. This way, you will be spending your 120 minutes allocated for this paper. And now, let's have a discussion on the syllabus and the deleted topics for the term 2 examination. Under chapter number 1, accounting for not-for-profit organization, there is no deletion. In chapter number 2, under retirement and death of partner, capital adjustments, preparation of loan account of retiring partner, and preparation of deceased partner capital account are not in syllabus for this particular year. And under chapter dissolution of partnership firm, issue of debenture, comparative financial statement, and cash flow statement, there is no deletion. And now going to discuss about the probable topics which can be asked under different type of chapters. So I believe this would be very much important point of learning for you. Let's first discuss under the accounting for not-for-profit organization. So here in this chapter, you will have 1 question of 2 marks, and 1 for 3 marks, another for 5 marks. This way, NPO will be carrying 10 marks. Under 2 mark question, there is a possibility that you can be asked to find out amount of consumption of stationery or goods or medicine, etc. Difference between receipt payment account and income expenditure account. Under 3 mark question, a question may be asked to calculate the amount of subscription for the entire year. And you also must know how to prepare subscription account, because it is not necessary that you can calculate subscription with the help of a simple calculation. Sometimes it may be made compulsory for you to prepare a subscription account. So you must learn how to prepare the subscription account. And fund-based accounting. Under funds-based accounting, where the different funds are given to you, and the receipt for funds are given, and the expenditure for funds are given, these questions also to be learned carefully. And this may this type of question may come under 3 mark question. And under 5 mark question, 1 question to prepare income and expenditure account with the help of receipt and payment account with some adjustment will be asked in the examination. Now, come to the next chapter, that is retirement and death of partner, including dissolution of partnership firms. So this chapter on the partnership will be basically will be meant for about 12 marks, and there will be 2 questions, a 2 mark question and 1 3 mark question, and another 1 question will be for 5 marks. Let's discuss about the possibility of the questions under 2 marker questions. Calculation of new ratio or gaining ratio, and entry for the goodwill. And entry for the goodwill, you also need to learn about the accounting treatment when a gaining share comes in negative. So entry for the goodwill, you know, that is a gaining partner to retiring partners. So sometime remaining partners or gaining partners share come also negative. So that partner's shares basically has to be credited. So you need to learn the entries when the gaining share comes negative, and calculation of hidden goodwill, entries on the treatment of accumulated profit in the form of general reserve, workman compensation reserve, profit and loss account, etc. So how these accounts are written off? So these all accounts are debited and the capital accounts of partners credited, and accumulated losses in the form of definite expenditure, advertisement expenditure. So these are also to be written off. So capital account debit to accumulated losses. So this is the entry for this purpose. And entries for the revaluation of assets and reassessment liabilities. Dissolution of partnership versus partnership firm. So this theory-based question. And one more theory-based question is expected, that is difference between the private debt and the firm debt. And you may also be asked on the modes of dissolution under section 48 of Partnership Act 1932. So these are the important topics which can be covered for 2-mark question. And then this basically for retirement as well as for dissolution. And now one more 2-mark question will be there. And under this question from the death of partner is expected to be asked, and in which you have to you may have the question like calculation of profit or loss of a deceased partner, and entry for the goodwill of the deceased partner. And there can be 2 instances where the ratio between the remaining partner change, and sometime it may not be changed. So when the ratio of the remaining partner change, then the entry for the treatment of goodwill is gaining partner's account debit to sacrificing or deceased partner. And whenever there is no change in the new ratio and old ratio of remaining partner, in that case you have to pass an entry through profit and loss suspense account. So when the ratio change, the entry for the treatment of goodwill is gaining partner's capital account debit to deceased partner capital account. And when there is no change in the ratio, old ratio, new ratio of the remaining partner, so entry for the profit is profit and loss suspense account debit to deceased partner's capital account. So under 3-mark question, the question may be to calculate the share of profit plus entry for profit or loss plus entry for goodwill. So this way, the 3 components may be asked under 3-mark question. Now, let's discuss about a question which is to be based for 5 marks. Under 5 marks, the entries on the dissolution of the partnership firm or entries on the different cases of realized expenses, these may be asked, and you also may be asked to prepare realization account and realization account on the basis of additional information, or you may also be asked to prepare revaluation account and capital account. So under this 5-mark question, there will be internal choice. So you will have the choice, either you can do the question on dissolution of partnership firm, or you can do the question on the retirement of a partner. So full length question is not expected due to the limited time. So you just need to practice the question where you have to prepare revaluation account and capital accounts. Next chapter, we have issued debentures. Under issued debenture, this chapter is meant for 8 marks, and we have 2 type of question, one for 3 marks. And under 3-mark question, we can have the number of question like issued debentures other than cash, that is issued debentures to the vendors when you purchase the assets or running business. And you may also be asked to write the entries for writing of discount or loss on issued debentures. So when you have to write off loss or discount in issued debenture, so you give the preference to security reserve. And if the discount or loss is yet to be written off, or if some balance is left, then you have to give the preference to the profit and losses statement of profit and loss. So writing off discount or loss on issue, the entries basically security reserve account debit, statement profit or loss account debit to discount or loss on issue. So just have a practice on these type of questions. And one question may also be asked under the collateral security. So under collateral security, you need to pass 2 entries. First is debentures. First entry is bank account debit to bank loan, and another is the debenture suspense account debit to debenture. And you may also be asked to show the relevant items in the balance sheet. So you just have a look on these type of question and practice. Then under 5-mark question, there may possibility that one case-based question may be given to you, and this case-based question may be followed by 5 different questions. And it also is possible that you may be asked to write the entry for the different terms of the redemption. So there are 6 cases. So all out of these 6 cases, 5 cases may be asked to you, or some combination of different type of entries may be given to you to write the entries. Or simple entries on the interest on debenture may be given to you without TDS. So TDS is not in the syllabus. So just have a look on this type of entries. Now, next chapter, we have the comparative financial statement. So under a comparative financial statement, we have basically 2 comparative financial statement. One is comparative income statement, and another we have the comparative common size statement. Again, under comparative income statement, we have comparative income statement and common size income statement. And under income statement, we have 2 type statement, comparative income statement and a common size income statement. And under balance sheet, we have 2 type of statement, comparative balance sheet and common size balance sheet statement. So these 4 type of questions are there in this chapter, and there will be internal choice. So you have to decide whether you have to do a comparative income statement or common size. So in my opinion, out of these 2, you should do the comparative income statement because it takes less time. The last chapter we have cash flow statement. Under cash flow statement, you will have one question for 2 marks and another question for 5 marks. And under 2-mark question, what the possibility of the question is, that the question may be asked on finding the flows of cash, that is inflow of cash, outflow of cash, or no flow of cash. So you may be given the different transaction. So you have to see what type of flow is there in the particular transaction. You need to know what are the items under cash and cash equivalents. You also need to know the flow of cash for financing and non-financing companies. So you may be given the transaction, and you may be asked to give the effect, whether there will be inflow or whether to have to give the effect under operating, investing, or financing activity. So some activity, some transaction may be operating for financing, but may be investing for a non-financing company, and there is a different possibility of cases. So you also just need to learn on the transaction related to financing and non-financing companies. There may be also possibility that transaction may be asked which do not involve any cash flow. That is when you deposit the cash in the bank, when you withdraw the cash from the bank, or any involvement between the item of cash flow, cash and cash equivalent. So basically, these transactions do not involve any cash flow. And examples of cash and non-cash transactions. So non-cash transaction means when you purchase a certain asset, and against this you issue debentures or shares, or when you issue the shares as a bonus to the existing shareholders. So there can be so many possibilities for the non-cash transactions. So you also need to learn about such transactions. And treatment of proposed dividend as per accounting standard for a revise. So as per accounting standard for revise, in simple term, I would like to say that previous year figure has to be shown at 2 different places. One, you have to add in the net profit before tax, and also you have to show as a minus item or payment of proposed dividend under the financing activity. So there can be more complicated cases under this topic, but we will be discussing about the complicated different complicated cases in the other videos. So here we are basically discussing about the most important point you need to know. And under 5-mark question, you will have to prepare cash flow statement. As per CBSE sample paper, full length question has been asked where you have to prepare the cash flow statement under all these 3 activities. But there is also possibility that you may be asked to prepare any 2 activities. So there will be maybe combination of cash from operating and investing and financing, and operating and financing. So there can be 3 type of combination under cash flow statement. Or full length question may also be asked. Now, tips before the preparation of the examination you should learn. Number 1, you should go through the CB sample paper along with the marking scheme carefully. Just open the sample paper, read the question, read the question, and if you can know the answer, it's well, and then compare your answer with the marking scheme. Or otherwise, we are not confident, then do the question on the register, and then compare your answer with the marking scheme. Then you also should go through all the papers you have given in the pre-boards. So just collect all the papers you have given as a pre-board, and also grab all the copies of all the answer sheets, and see how you have done the question, and where you have committed the mistake, and ensure that same mistakes are not going to happen once again in the final examination. And now, what about the reading time? Under the reading time, you should prepare your mind that which question you have to take and in which order. And you also need to prepare your mind if a question is carrying the alternative part, whether you have to take the first part or you have to take the alternative part. You just decide carefully, because when you start doing the question, so in that case, basically you run of time. So you are not in a position to decide which option you should take. So better you decide which option you have to take when the alternative is given in a particular question. Okay, so this point we have discussed. Do not practice so much complex and lengthy questions during the day's examination, as it wastes a lot of time. So before the examination, you must have practiced a lot. And if you have not practiced a lot or regarding the difficult question, now it is suggested that you should not do complex and lengthy question. Better a suggestion is that you should do the simple and moderate level of question during the time of examination. And do not try to cram any concept in practical, but in theory you need to learn. So just try to understand logic and the concept behind any transaction. The next, regarding the paper presentation. So presentation matters a lot, because the paper checker gets the answer sheets of different type of schools, and from each and every sheet, the mindset of the paper checker changes. So now it is your responsibility that how you can get highest marks. So it's only the presentation. So first, the presentation must be neat and clean and beautifully answered. So you just decide which question you are confident. Then those questions should be attended first in the first 2 or 3 sheets. And now next point, and if a question has certain parts, and all the parts of question should be done together. So if you don't know the answer of a particular part, then leave the sufficient space and do it later. This time you will have the formats in the answer sheet. You might be knowing about it, and it will have 32 pages from pages number 17 to 24. It will have the printed formats of journal, and from pages number 25 to 32, you will have the printed format of ledger. So now I'm going to show you how this how the answer sheet would appear. You just have a look on this answer sheet. So these are the pages. Now just moving to the printed portion of this answer sheet. So here you can see this printed format from page number 17. On page number from page number 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 25, 26, 20. Okay, so after the journal, now the portion for the ledger. After this ledger, now you can see account formats have also been given. So along with the journal, the formats of accounts are also been given. Now the challenge before you may be that, just like in the case of a retirement of a partner, where you have to prepare the capital account of 3 partners, and here only one amount column is given. So what you can do, you can draw 2 more column. You can divide the amount column, or you can draw 2 more columns along with the amount on the left hand side of this amount column, and and the particulars column may be used, date column may be used a particular column, or if you don't want to use this sheet, you can simply draw your format on the plain sheets. So if you are comfortable to customize as per your requirement, it's well and good. If you are not comfortable to divide, to customize the format, then better you do on the main plain sheets. Now moving back, next step. Next, we have draw the lines with the pencil. So wherever you to draw the formats, it is always suggested that you should draw the formats with the line. Record all entries simultaneously in the respective accounts. It's basically important when you are preparing a full length question, when you are doing the full length question. Though in this exam, you are not, you have not to do the full length question, just like the case of retirement. You are not supposed to do reversion of capital account, balance sheet, all these things simultaneously. But wherever you have to do a full length question, but it's suggested that you should record the entries simultaneously, just like you have to show the decrease in the assets. So you will show on the debit side revaluation account, immediately you should show the effect in the balance on the asset side, isn't it? So if you are if there is an increase in the value of asset, then it will be shown on the credit side of a balance, credit side of the revaluation account. Immediately you show its a second effect in the balance sheet by increasing the value of assets. So this way, whenever you have the transaction, you should show the double effect immediate simultaneously, because otherwise what happens, when you complete the question, sometimes some information, some point may be skipped and your balance sheet may not tell you. One more important point I would like to tell you that balance sheet is basically a statement. It is not an account, and it is in the balance sheet we never write debit and credit. Sometimes I have observed while checking the answer sheet that students write debit and credit in the balance sheet itself. So debit and credit are never written. But you can keep in the mind that the assets always carry debit balances and liabilities always carries the credit balances. But in the balance sheet, we never write debit and credit. If you will write debit and credit, some marks may be deducted. Okay, so balance sheet is basically a statement and not an account, but it is just opposite to an account, because in the account left side debit side, whereas in the balance sheet asset side is having the debit balances. So in the account, right side is the credit side, but in the balance sheet liabilities side is basically credit side is having the credit balances. And writing about to and by in the accounts, it is quite optional. Whether you want to write to and by in the account, it is up to you. If you want to write, then throughout the paper you should write the to and by. If you don't write to and by, then you should skip or ignore writing to and by in any account. The next, double effect. Three things you should keep in the mind. First thing, that when you are taking any figure from the balance sheet, then you have to show a single effect, just like when you're preparing the cash flow statement. So the cash flow statement has to be prepared with the help of the balance sheet and certain adjustments. So when you are taking any item from the balance, just like share capital is increasing. So increase in the share capital has to be shown in the financing activity as positive item. So when you are taking the effect from the balance sheet, it will have only one effect that you are showing in the finance activity, because another effect is in the balance sheet itself. Okay. So similarly, when on the asset side, the value of assets is decreasing. So value of assets decreasing, and you know that it's because depreciation. So depreciation will be added in net profit under operating activity. No other effect will be shown. Okay. So this is the first thing. Second thing, if you're finding any amount as a percentage, just like against the debenture, 9% is written. So 9% prefix is written against the debenture, 9% debenture, and you have to calculate the interest. So you will calculate the interest on the opening balance in normal cases. Okay, so after finding the interest, you will show the interest amount at two different places. One on the in the financing activity as a payment of interest, and also you will add in the net profit. So whenever you are calculating as any item as a percentage, it will always have double effects. Third thing, if you find anything as a balance figure, just like we are preparing plant and machinery account and accumulated depreciation account. So in the plant and machinery account, you just find the balance figure on the debit side, just like purchases. So if you're finding any item as a balance figure, it will always have the single effect, a double effect. One is single effect, sorry. One effect is already in the plant and machinery account, and another effect you will show under the financial activity. Similarly, if you prepare a capital depreciation account, and normally in the capital depreciation account, you will find the balance figure on the credit side. That is basically depreciation provided. So you will show it you will show it as addition to net profit. So one effect is already there in the capital depreciation account, but second effect you will show in the net profit. So this way you need to keep in mind that whenever you take any item from the balance sheet or effect from the balance sheet, it is a single effect. And when you find any amount as a percentage or as a balance figure, it will always have a double effect. Next thing, what happens if your balance sheet does not tally? If your balance sheet does not tally, then what you should do? You should find the difference. After finding the difference, you should look at the question. If whether is such amount is appearing in the question or not. If it is appearing, then then see whether you are given the right effect or not. And if you are not able to look at such an amount, just make a double of the amount or make a half of the amount. Then again, you try to find the amount, whether this such a double of the amount or half the amount is available in the question or not. If it is available, then try to make the correction at the appropriate places. And after making such effort, if you are still not able to find the cause of the difference in the balance sheet, just leave that question and then go ahead. And after you finish the paper, you are left with some time, then you should give time on such type of question to match the balance sheet. So this was all about the important information regarding the accountancy paper. I hope all the information would prove to be beneficial for you, and you must have learned so many new things. So I would say all the best for the coming accountancy paper, and I shall be coming with more videos now chapter wise. Thank you, everyone.